Hello, so today we are going to continue our review of Algebra 1. So we are going to look at graphing linear equations. Your objective for today is that you will be able to graph linear equations by using intercepts and by using the slope-intercept form of the line. So first we're going to look at graphing by intercepts. So to find the x-intercept, we want to set y equal to 0. So you're going to plug in 0 for y, which means that in the equation, wherever y is, you put a 0. And then you're going to solve for x. So your answer will be where you plot it on the x-intercept. So it would be like -4, 0. To find the y-intercept, we set x equal to 0, and we solve for y. So then this gives us our answer to put on the y-intercept. So for an example, we have 8x minus 2y equals 16. So to find the x-intercept, y equals 0. So we have 8x minus 2 times 0 equals 16. Since this is 0, it just goes away. So we get 8x equals 16. You solve for x, so we just divide by 8. So x equals 2. This means that our coordinate becomes 2, 0. So remember, when you're plotting on the intercept, this first one is your x-coordinate, and the second one is your y-coordinate. So we go over on the x first, so we go over 2 and up 0, so our point is right here, because that's your x-axis. Now, to find your y-intercept, you want to plug in 0 for x. So we have 8 times 0 minus 2y equals 16. Since this is 0, it just goes away. So we have negative 2y equals 16. You want to solve, so you divide by 2, negative 2. So y equals -8. So your coordinate becomes 0, -8. So when plotting this, again, this is your x-coordinate and this is your y. So you start at the origin. We don't go over any because we don't have an x-coordinate. It's just 0. Then we go down -8, which, of course, this graph cannot fit, but it would be about there. And you connect your line, hopefully straighter than that, but that would be your line. So let's look at another example. So for the x-intercept, again, y equals 0. So we have -6x plus 3 times 0 equals 24. So we have -6x equals 24, divide by -6. So x equals -4. So our coordinate is -4, 0. So we're going to start out at the origin, go over to the left 4, and go up and down 0. So that is your x-intercept. To graph your y-intercept, you set x equal to 0. So -6 times 0 plus 3y equals 24. That's just 0. So 3y equals 24. Divide by 3. Y equals 8. So your coordinate is 0, 8. We don't go over any, and we go up 8 on the x-axis. It's about there. And you draw your line. So graphing using your intercepts, you are just plugging in 0 for x and y and solving to find both of your intercepts. So now we're going to look at slope-intercept form of the line. So your slopes, when you have a positive slope, it's always rising from left to right. Negative, it's decreasing. 0, it's a horizontal line, and undefined, it's a vertical line. So you probably remember y equals mx plus b. It's probably burned into your brain. So your m is your slope of the line, and your b is your y-intercept. So you always start at your y-intercept. You always start at your b, and then you count the slope. So for example, here we have 1/2 x plus 1. This plus 1 is your b, so you're going to start at your positive 1 on the y-axis. Then you're going to count your slope 1/2, so you go up 1 to the right 2, up 1 to the right 2, Or you could go opposite, so you could go down 1 and to the left 2. So when it's a positive slope, you always move up and right, such as up and right, or down and left, just like we did here, because you want your line to be rising from left to right. When you have a negative slope, so if this was negative 1/2, you would start at your plus 1. Let me get a different color pen. You would start at your positive 1, and you would go down 1 and to the right 2, down 1 to the right 2, or you would go up 1 and back 2, because you want it to be decreasing from the left to the right. Y equals -5 would be a horizontal, or y equals +5 would be a horizontal line at y equals 5, because if you think about it, at every point your y value is 5. So like you have 1, 5, 2, 5, 5, 5, -5, 5. It's always y equals 5. And then let's see if you can see yellow here. X equals 5 would be a vertical line at the value x equals 5. Because again, at every point x is 5. So you have 5, 0, 5, 1, 5, 3, 5, -3. So it's always x equals 5. Now let's look at some examples. So we have y equals 1/2 x plus 3. So again, 1/2 is your slope, your m, and this is your b. So we're going to start at your b, so +3, put a point on the y-axis, and then our slope is 1/2, it's positive. So we go up 1 to the right 2, up 1 to the right 2, or down 1 and to the left 2, down 1 to the left 2, and you draw your line. So once a line is in slope-intercept form, it's pretty easy to graph. So we're going to look at y equals -2x minus 1. Again, this is your m and this is your b. So we're going to start at our b, -1, put the point. Now, when your slope is just a whole number, it's always over 1. So we're going to go down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1, or up 2 and to the left 1. And draw your line. Next, we're going to look at, just like in the beginning, x equals -2. So if you remember, so you're going to find where x equals -2, and you're going to cut the x-axis there. Because at every single point there, x is -2. So right here, it's -2, 4, -2, -5. And then for y equals 4, again, it's a horizontal line, so you find it on the y-axis and you cut the y-axis there. Because at every single point, it's 6, 4, -5, 4. Your y value is always 4. So that's the end of our graphing video. So make sure you come to class with any questions. We will review it and do some practice.